My name is Alyssa Klein, and I'm a second-year MBA candidate and Center for Digital Strategies MBA Fellow at the Tuck School of Business at Dartmouth College. I'm pleased to welcome Mark Dickey, Senior Vice President at Salesforcecom Foundation, who is joining us today as part of the Brit Technology Impact Series. Welcome to Tuck, Mark.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here.
It's great to be here.
So Mark, do you think this is the year for cloud computing?
Good question. I would say that it's not a year, but it's literally been a decade. If you look at the growth of cloud computing and what the company actually established as this market originally as software as a service, it's very clear that cloud computing in many dimensions, both at an enterprise level and what we're going to talk about later today, even at a personal or social level, has become a very important set of technologies that markets are rallying behind. If you look at the company, our customer growth has been explosive. Over the last decade, we've gone from literally being a small startup to a global company now that has over 85,000 customers globally on the platform. So I think it's been a decade of growth, and I think the next decade is going to be profound in terms of the use of cloud computing in a broad context, but certainly for the company as well.
How do you think cloud computing will impact the developing world?
Well, I think what it does is it eliminates the complexity associated with software deployments as we once knew them on the premise. Mark Benioff, the founder, CEO of the company and chairman of the foundation, often talks about the democratization of software. You know, previously, and you're talking, by the way, to somebody who lived through this. Previously, you know, large software deployments across an enterprise required significant human capital as well as financial capital to actually deploy them. With cloud computing, it eliminates all of that complexity. And so there's this notion of democratization that goes on, which means you can be a small company, a medium-sized company, a large enterprise, and the platform is readily available. What you need is simply a web browser, access to the internet, and probably some, hands-on consulting work to make sure you get the workflow and relationships right. But all of the complexity associated with on-premise software eliminated. So I think in the developing world, this is a huge, huge benefit, and I think it gives us a much broader and deeper global reach into many markets that previously just simply weren't available to companies that were in the software business.
How does the Power of Us program enrich Salesforce.com as a whole?
Well, you know, it's very significant, and it's a really good question. What's very important to understand about our company and the foundation is, in fact, that they were established on the very same day. So if you look historically at what happened, when Mark and the other founders applied for a business license, the very same day they established the foundation. So from the very beginning, Mark and the other founders have believed that there's an opportunity to revolutionize enterprise software. And equally so, they believe that there's an opportunity to really define to the world the role that corporations can play in philanthropy. And so the company has now acted that out over the last decade plus now at this point. And what's really interesting is this is all premeditated. This was not, we will think philanthropically if we're successful. But in point of fact, it was a premeditated part of the business plan, the culture, and the identity of the company. And so the company and the foundation work very synergistically. We co-locate, we share facilities. The foundation is the beneficiary of IT services and human resource services, a lot of things that in the nonprofit world, and certainly even in a startup context, you wouldn't see. Equally so, the foundation supports all of the philanthropic efforts of our now more than 5,000 employees globally. And our employees are really committed. I mean, we have a culture that thinks philanthropically, acts philanthropically, and believes very strongly in the direction and the mission that Mark and the other founders established. So the Power of Us program is one of the ecosystems that we have that pulls together our partners and other constituents associated with either the foundation and or the company in a way that allows us to really take our 1-1-1 model, which is the 1% of our employees' time. So they are given a week a year to donate to the charity or nonprofit of their choice. And this is something that the company funds. 1% of our equity, which is what Mark and the other founders of the company established as kind of the financial resources that would support the foundation. And what Mark would say very humbly is that was easy because it wasn't worth anything when we gave it. But in point of fact, now it does a lot to assist our efforts and what we do globally. And then the 1% technology, where we donate licenses, 10 free licenses to any qualified nonprofit, and then steeply discount beyond that, so that we can make this platform readily available so that these nonprofits can go ahead and redirect their capital towards their mission and use the technology to be much more effective and much more efficient in what they do. So it's an integral part. It's a very unique model. And I think one that has certainly demonstrated to the corporate world that there is another way of supporting various philanthropic institutions. So it's been a very successful and worthwhile model, and continues to be very much so part of the heartbeat of the company on a daily basis.
I want to shift focus to more of the social efforts. And so, how does Salesforce.com hope Chatter will be utilized by its clients?
Well, that's a very good question, and one in point of fact that we strategically have embedded into our platform. It's very clear that if you look at the market dynamics around social media in general, and the trends around the use of social media like Facebook, like Twitter, like LinkedIn from a professional perspective, that there is a huge movement afoot towards that interactive media. And Chatter represents the first and only really enterprise class social media that can be used inside the enterprise. So it is established really inside of our cloud infrastructure, integrates quite well with other social media domains outside of the enterprise, but it is market ready and built around enterprise requirements around security, specific collaboration needs around groupings and attachment and information flow, et cetera. So it takes the best that we've learned about social media and Facebook, that it's fun and it's easy and it's intuitive and it's information, there's a lot of information established there. It takes the best of that world, if you will, and puts it into the enterprise so that large enterprises can collaborate as well around their constituents, around specific projects, whatever the specific subject matter type might be.